first of all, thank you all for coming. As you all probably know, this is organized by Wix.com. That's probably how most of you ended up here, is that you are Wix users. For those of you who might not know what Wix is all about, Wix.com is an online website building platform that is 100% customizable, totally easy to use with no coding at all. You don't even need any design experience. We have hundreds of awesome templates. And we're available 8 to 8 p.m. with our support line, which is wonderful. You get to talk to a real person. If you don't have that number by any chance, by the way, you can come ask us later. If you're having any trouble with your website, you can either find me or Adriani over there about your specific questions about the Wix website. So just to intro a little bit here, we're going to be talking about email marketing tips and tricks. We have Julie Niehoff here. She is the Director of Education and Development here at Constant Contact, so she has a wealth of knowledge to share with you all. And just a couple things before we start. I just want to thank our caterers. They are awesome Wix users themselves. They have beautiful websites. You should check them out. We have Yeti frozen custard here, and we have guac and roll here. So you should definitely talk to them, get their number, get some food next time. Local businesses, Wix users. And also, you can find Adriani and myself over there after the event to ask about the Wix platform. We can do little demos for you. If you don't know the editor, we're there to answer any questions you have. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Julie.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me in the back if I'm... Okay, I'm not going to stand on the podium, that creeps me out. I'd rather do it with you. I just want to be away from you. So before we get started, I want to get a sense of who's in the room, and I'll explain who I am as well. My name is Julie Niehoff. I work for a company called Constant Contact, which is integrated with Wix. I personally am a Wix user for a website that has nothing to do with my work at Constant Contact. And my role at the company at Constant Contact is education. So I develop our curriculum and I train our teachers and speakers. And we have 300 of those across the US and in Canada and the UK. And our free classes that teach about marketing in general, some of the things we'll talk about today. And then we dive deeper into specific topics, social media, Facebook, Twitter, things like that. We teach on average 35,000 people a month in free classes, so it's a lot. It's all small businesses and nonprofits, some medium businesses, some large businesses come to enjoy the information, but our tools are specifically for small businesses and nonprofits. So how many in this room are small businesses, or you work for a small business, you represent a small business? And who here is a nonprofit on purpose? If you have specific questions about nonprofits, please don't hesitate to ask them. Most of what I'm saying applies to both. If there is a really specific or a big difference between the two, at any point I'll point it out for you. But if something, if you want to raise your hand, any of you, if you want to raise your hand at any time, just interrupt me and I'll do my best. If it starts to snowball and 17 of you ask questions, we'll wait till the Q&A. But if you can't stand it, you really want to raise your hand, do it, and we'll just stop and talk about it. So we're going to talk about building your marketing toolkit. Constant Contact is an email marketing company. Well, it's best known as an email marketing company, but it's actually an online marketing service that's do-it-yourself. So it's email, it's event marketing, it's online surveys, and it all works with your Wix site if you're using Wix. Some of you may have found us, and I have some slides at the end that I can show you that show you how to find us in the Wix product. We're actually integrated and built in, so that if you click on tools, I believe they're called tools, and where you want to add subscriber sign up, things like that, you can easily set up a free trial of Constant Contact and try it inside the Wix system. Everything I'm talking about today, though, you should be able to apply to your business or your nonprofit, regardless of what tools you're using, whether you're using Constant Contact or not, whether you're using Wix or not, actually. You should be able to apply all of the strategies that we're talking about to any business using any of the tools that you choose to use. So I don't want you to feel like you're sitting in a commercial for Constant Contact. You're not. In fact, it's not my job to sell you Constant Contact. The salespeople don't love that I'll tell you that, but my job is education. I just need you to leave here and feel empowered and know that you know what to do if you want to grow your business. Okay? So let's talk about building your marketing toolkit. I will show you that my contact information is here. We're going to send you all of these slides, so try to rush to write down what's on the slide. I'd really rather you actually listen to what I'm saying, because a lot of what I will tell you is not on the slide. And that way, if you want to take notes, that's fine, but understand that if you're rushing to write what's up here, I'm going to send that to you anyway, so no worries. And you have not magically joined a list, you're going to get one email from me that says, here's the slides. That's it, I promise. I promise. That's a major tenet of all email marketing, is you don't just suddenly start emailing people that you don't know. So today we're going to talk about marketing for today. You may have noticed it's changed a little bit. 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, or 5 days ago, it's changed a lot. We're going to talk about campaigns that drive action, and we're going to talk about some things that you need to know that you can apply. Very simple, practical things, like literally where to put your logo, how big it should be, things like that. Very simple things that one little tweak that you might flip that switch, and suddenly everything changes and you start getting more response from your marketing. So, and if you're not nonprofit and I'm saying marketing, I really mean outreach for you. So I know marketing is a bad word in the nonprofit world.
I use it.
Oh, good. So I don't have to say marketing or outreach the whole night. That's so exciting. That's great. And then we will have lots of time for Q&A. So marketing for today, and I apologize for holding water. I've got a tickle in my throat today, and of course, the day that I get to speak to you is when the tickle came. So it's like a security blanket. I'm holding the water. So just so I understand where you are, so it gives me a sense of whether to use the word browser or not in a room. Who is using Facebook for their business? Not to track their teenagers. Not that they're there anymore, but okay. And who is using LinkedIn? It's more than just a resume site now. Oh no. If you didn't know that, go and look at it again. And Twitter. Who here uses Twitter? Who's on Twitter right now? I'm actually Niehoff, N-I-E-H-O-F-F. Who here hates Twitter? Never going to use Twitter. Don't care what I have to say about Twitter. Raise both hands. Enjoy it. I just wrote an article called "Raise Your Hand If You Hate Twitter." I'll send you a link to that with these slides if you want to read it. I've embraced it. I love Twitter, but I did used to hate it. The first tweet I ever read was from my, at the time, 16-year-old daughter. And it said, "I'm sitting at a stoplight eating a sandwich." And I never hated a website more. Because it was during a school day, and why are you eating in the car, and why are you texting at a stoplight? Bad problems. You'll read in the article, I actually figured out later she was out of school early for exams and she wasn't home driving. So she's thrilled that I include that in my article. But I did actually learn to embrace Twitter. There are reasons to like Twitter, and I'll talk a little bit about it. But again, I'm not here to make you use Twitter. If you hate it, don't do it. It's not for you. That's fine. Who is using Pinterest for business? Not just your own personal, but for business. That's actually a lot. That's good. And Instagram, if you're marketing to teenagers, good God, be on Instagram. That's where they all went when we got to Facebook. And YouTube or any kind of video. It doesn't have to be YouTube, but if you're using videos at all. Okay, great. I love Austin. More people here raise their hands for all of those than anywhere else. I do live here, so I love it. And how many of you are using email for your marketing at all? Mass email, looks good email, trackable email. Anybody reading their email right now on their cell phone? I will not be offended. I'm not going to ask you to turn it off. How many of you have checked your email today? Fair question. Every hand. I'm going to point out to you that across the top, smattering of you each raised your hand. Some of you raised your hand for all of them. I do know which ones you were. But everybody raised their hand for email. So email is the hub of communication for business. If you have a job, or if you're working toward building a business, you are checking email. And I also need to point out anybody who uses those sites across the top, or those tools across the top, if Facebook wants you to come back, what do? They send you an email. They tell you somebody posted something and they send you an email. LinkedIn sends you an email from a group that you're part of and says, hey, this person added an article or asked a question. Twitter emails you and said, this person's following you. They all email you because that's how they pull you back. Email is the hub of all communication for business. I know you know that on a daily basis, but it's actually the hub of how you actually reach someone and pull them back to your Wix site. If you want people to visit your Wix site, you need to get their digits when they visit the first time. You need to get their email address so that you can pull them back with other information that's relevant to them. That's a big tenet of all that we're doing. I will tell you that 96% of people who click like on your Facebook page, for those of you that are using Facebook for your business, 96% of the people who click like on your Facebook page never come back. The ones who come back are the ones that you have an email address for that you pull back to your page. And you want them to go back to your page. It's not because your Facebook page isn't relevant. It's absolutely relevant. It's a matter of the engagement, the interaction on your Facebook page affects whether you show up in people's news feed. So it's whether anybody's going to hear what you had to say or not, or see what you had to post or not. So it's important that you start gathering email addresses. Even if you're not going to do mass emailing, you need to be able to reach people to pull them back to the information that you want to share with them. So when I say the word marketing, I'm going to put down my water now. I feel more secure now, I don't need the water. When I say the word marketing, I mean something very, very specific. And I realize that you're all adults and you're in business and you know what marketing is, just in general. But if I gave each of you a piece of paper and asked you to write down the definition of marketing, most of you would write something very similar, but a smidge different, all the way down the line. And I want us all to be talking about the exact same thing. So I'm going to give you my definition of marketing. It has 3 steps. They're not going to show up on the screen, so if you want to write them down, you can. I do have an article that lists them, so I'll send you that too. So if you don't want to write, you just want to listen, that's fine. Real marketing, and if anyone in the room has a marketing degree, this is overly simplified and does not null and void your degree at all. Really. 3 steps. Number 1, define an audience. Decide on a group of people that you intend to reach out to for some reason. Define an audience. They should have something in common. It could be all of your customers, or all of your volunteers, all of your donors, all of your board members. Whatever it is, they may live in the same area of town, have bought the same thing from you, you met them all at the same event. Whatever it is, they have something in common. It's a group of people. So you define an audience, that's number 1. Number 2, you reach out to that audience with a message or an offer or information that is specifically for those people. So if it's a group of teachers that have bought a study guide from you, then you reach out to them as teachers who have bought that study guide from you. And that doesn't mean that you say, dear teacher who bought this study guide from me. It means that you speak to their specific needs. You might mention teachers in the context. If you have their first name, you should use their first name so that it's, genuinely a conversation or interaction. So define an audience, reach out to those people with a message or an offer or an information that is specific to those people. And number 3 is elicit a physical and measurable response. And this is the part that makes it marketing. Up to number 3, we were really in communications land. We were not in marketing. If you are not measuring, you are not marketing, which is why I gave you a little tape measure. If you are not measuring, you are not marketing. You are communicating, that's not going to hurt you. But if you want to see actual growth in your business, you need to be marketing. And to do any kind of marketing, you must be able to measure it. Physical and measurable response. It's a click, a download. They pick up the phone and call you. They buy a ticket to your event. They walk in. All of you represent a physical and measurable response right now because you walked into this room as a result of seeing some sort of marketing outreach that brought you here. How many of you came here because someone else told you that had nothing to do with Wix or Constant Contact? So a friend told you or saw it on Facebook, somebody said, I'm going to this, or something like that. That's a physical measurable response. The reason I ask is I have no way to measure it, but now I do. You've got to measure everything because if you're measuring, then you can say, this worked, do more of that. This did not work, stop doing that. And it removes emotion and it removes assumption. And you have a lot of assumptions that you don't even realize are assumptions in there. Like you might be assuming that you shouldn't send on Saturday night to your list of contacts. Well, what if you are a church? And what if you're trying to get teenagers to show up the next day? Then Saturday night might be the time. You can't assume. You have to be able to track what you're doing and measure the results. Email marketing makes that very easy. Our tools do it. Any reputable email marketing service will do that for you. It will tell you who opened the email, what time they opened it, what they clicked on, how many times they clicked on it, and did they forward it, and how many people did they forward it to. It does not tell you who they forwarded it to. That's actually against privacy law in a big way that I'm not even qualified to counsel you on. But it will tell you what worked and what didn't, so that you can say, I'm not going to spend 5 hours writing my letter from the editor every month if 2 people out of 1,000 are clicking it, and everybody's actually clicking on the story about my water skiing accident. So I'm gonna actually focus on little short personal quips and then get down to the business of selling my stuff or getting more referrals or bringing repeat customers back. So if you can find physical measurable response and measure it, then you are really marketing. Now, flipping the funnel refers to switching the way that your brain might be thinking about prospecting and bringing business into, or revenue into your business. This used to, in my old slides, look like an actual funnel. The sales funnel, standard funnel, it's a numbers game. The more people you bring in, the more people will say yes, because you work really hard at getting them to say yes, right, to convert them. And then at the end of that marketing day, you don't have a lot of time or money or energy left to get them to come back because you always have to fill the funnel. This is old marketing. I don't really like that term. This is traditional marketing. Print, radio, TV, expensive, needs deep pockets. You always have to fill the funnel. It's hard to compete with big businesses. Not impossible, but it's hard. I mean, it's hard for a little guy to go up against Best Buy. You can't outspend them. I call this the Super Bowl commercial model. If you could buy a Super Bowl commercial, wouldn't you? I would. You would. Because you can reach as many strangers as possible. You can prospect. It's cold calling to the nth degree. And you convert some of them, and then you keep even fewer of them, because you always have to fill the funnel, right? If you will flip the funnel in your mind, and this takes some getting used to, if you will flip the funnel and start using some of the new tools that are now available to you, and most of them are free, some of them are almost free, very inexpensive. Email marketing should cost you $20 to $40 a month. It's not something that should be breaking the bank, okay? So if you will flip the funnel, and instead of reaching for strangers, reach for people who already know you, existing customers, friends and family if you're just getting started, and give them easy tools to share your message, to click a button and share your offer on Facebook, to click a button and forward your information to their friends. If you will concentrate on the people who already know you, respect you, appreciate your services or your products, they will help you grow your business much faster than a bank of cold calling will. Because you don't even have cost of acquisition in that conversation. If you had to close business today, by the end of today, would you get on the phone and call strangers, or would you call your 5 best customers and say, what else could I do for you right now? Any of you that have been in business for a while would be calling the existing customers, because it's a warm, nice conversation that you don't hate having, right? So if you will, at least in part, I'm not asking you to give up all prospecting. I'm not asking you to not do your ad in the paper that you've been doing for 10 years. I'm saying start spending some time nurturing the relationships you already have, because a repeat customer spends 67% more than a new customer. That's a huge, huge piece of revenue that has no cost of acquisition. They're already in your bucket. So start focusing on people you already know, and that goes against your standard sales numbers game mind that says get as many people in the funnel as you can. You can still have your prospecting, but if you'll nurture your relationships, you will get more referrals and more repeat business, and that will grow your business faster. Now, on top of that, or you can multiply that by starting to use engagement. Engagement is the new word of mouth. It used to be if I came to your restaurant, who here has a restaurant? Anybody have a restaurant here? If I went to Walk and Roll, Benjamin, and I had a great experience, and I haven't eaten it yet, but it looks amazing. And I wanted to tell my neighbor that I might walk to my back fence 10 years ago and tell my neighbor over the fence, and that's a one-on-one conversation. And statistically, we used to hear that every good or bad experience you had, you would tell 11 people. Remember that? You used to hear that, and then it went to 22, and it's gone. That is no longer the case. I don't go to my back fence, or if I do, it is menial compared to what really happens. I post it on Facebook, or I say it on Twitter, and hundreds or thousands of people see it, depending on what time I did it and if they care what I have to say. So engagement is what you want. You want a lot of that, and you want to bring your existing customers into it. Try to think right now of your best customer, your very best customer. For some of you, you went immediately to someone you get along with really well, but they don't spend much money. And the others of you went to who spends the most money. Either way, it doesn't matter how you measure it. Your best customer, and hopefully you actually are competing with 2 or 3 of them in your head. I hope you have at least 2 really good customers. Those people are your ticket to immediate growth. And I don't mean that you need to go to them and nurture them in a fake way or try to sell them on doing something. I mean, just spend a little energy. Send them an email, post happy birthday on their birthday on Facebook. Genuine, authentic interaction that shows you actually are paying attention, that they are one of your best customers. That will buy you an awful lot of forwards and shares. Now, in my opinion, it works better if you really do mean it. I don't mean make a list of your birthdays and make sure they're being posted because you just want the money. It's really about authentically nurturing real relationships with humans. This is all interactive marketing, right? Using interactive tools. And we can use the word interactive all day long to talk about machines. We can talk about ATM machines, self-check-in at the airport, video games, that's all interactivity. But that is not what this is about. Engagement is interactivity between you and me. It's pointed at the opposite. You and me, real people interacting. The difference now with new tools is that you can do that on a one-to-many basis. So one person managing many relationships. The fact that you're using a tool to do it does not remove the authenticity of that relationship. It just makes you more efficient and smarter. It makes it very easy for you to genuinely send someone an email that you really do intend for it to be to them. That goes back to the define an audience. You're genuinely reaching out to those people. You reach out to them with something specifically for them, and then you pull from them a physical and measurable response. The forward button on emails and the share button, both on emails and on social media, are your new best friends for engagement. This is where you're going to grow. Let me show you this. This is an example of an email from Constant Contact. And up here is a little line. I made it bigger for you. This is the same thing as that, just so you know, you're not confused. It's called a social share bar. Any reputable email marketing service will turn one of these on for you. It does not cost any money. I mean, you have to be using their tools, so that costs you money, but this should be built in, and it is in any of the reputable ones that I'm aware of. They all have it. So if I sent you this email, and you were one of my really good customers, or at least I was engaging with you in an authentic way that was nurturing the relationship and actually giving you stuff that you care about, you might be likely to click on the Facebook button and share this offer or this information on your Facebook page. It takes one click to do that. If you ask people to do it, more people do it. Go figure. So start adding that into your emails. Use an email marketing service to do it. You can't do that with a regular email. And then watch what happens, because it will track how many people did it. But there is a privacy law that does not allow a system to tell you who posted where. That doesn't mean that they can't tag you somewhere and you find it, or you can't do a search for yourself, which is what I do to figure it out. But no system, it's illegal for the system to say so-and-so posted it on Facebook. Okay, Facebook can tell you that, but the email system cannot. Okay? Forward and share. You guys have a huge advantage using social media versus big business. Massive. Because you can be the face of the company, and it's actually the face of the company. And your employees can be the faces of the company in a way that Best Buy can't pull off. Maybe Papa John's, maybe, but do you feel close to Papa John's? No. Maybe if you lived here in Austin, you might, because you'd be a local. Part of the reason that I get to live in Austin, thank goodness, I love Austin, is because I work for a company that understands that they can't fly someone in and put a cowboy hat on them, which I know you've all seen, and suddenly that's your Texas rep, but then they go back to Boston. That's not going to happen. And I shouldn't say rep, I'm not a sales rep, but either way, I'm a face of the company in Austin. And the greatest thing about that is that when I'm teaching classes and I'm meeting people and then I walk into their business and I take my 17-year-old, he thinks I'm cool because people are like, oh, Julie, you're here. And he thinks I'm famous, and I just let him think it. So if you meet him, do not tell him that I'm not famous. Once he leaves Austin, I'm screwed. But right now, he thinks I'm famous. And that's only because I'm an actual human being interacting with actual people. There is no shortcut for that. There are tools to make it easier to manage, but we've all known since the beginning of your business, you've known that you grow faster with relationships than with selling. Relationships and who you know and who you buy from is more important than where you buy and what you buy. It has a lot to do with having real interaction. And social media allows for that in a mass scale, and it can still be authentic. So what you're gonna do is run campaigns, and your website on Wix or wherever you have it serves as the catch-all of everything you need to tell people. When you do a campaign, and a campaign just means that you push information out and you pull that response, okay? When you do a campaign, instead of telling them everything you do, you just tell one thing that you do at a time, or one thing you have to offer at a time, because that allows you to measure what people care about. And if you're using tools that measure things, like Constant Contact will tell you who cared about what, right? So if I'm a travel agent, is there a travel agent in here? No? If I were a travel agent and I sent everybody in here an email that had a golf package, a ski package, and a beach package, I would know within the moment that you click which of you care about golf. And I would save you in a list of golf interested. And then later, if I, as that travel agent, had a big golf package that I needed to unload, I would zero in on those people first. That is not an inauthentic gesture. That is serving what you actually care about without you having to tell me that you care. It's a little big brother, I'll grant you. I wouldn't start the next phone call with, I saw you clicked on golf. But people are not naive, especially not. People aren't naive. They know that you're paying attention to what they do. And if you've ever questioned that from big companies, go back and open an email that you've gotten from, I don't know, Coldwater Creek, Best Buy, a pizza place, and click on a button and go into their website and do not buy anything. And then count how many days it takes for you to get a better coupon. And then do it one more time, because most of them are going to give you three tries and then you're out. Your third coupon's going to be the best though, so I'd hold out. Only on big business, that is not true of small business. Big business, that's about it. But if you're not sure that that's true, test it, and you'll see that you'll get really good coupons from clothing stores especially. So let's talk about different kinds of campaigns that you can run. And again, this is not about whether you use Constant Contact or not. I'm going to show you examples that happen to be Constant Contact because that's what I have access to. But any reputable email service will give you similar tools to this. So I just don't want to confuse you with that. So newsletters and announcements. Anyone in here hate the word newsletter? You can tell me, I will not be offended. Just don't use the word newsletter. There's no rule that you have to have 3 articles and 3 pictures and 3 links like this example does. In fact, if you liked this example or this template, you could use it and delete everything but the first one. I'm a big proponent of 1 article is more than enough. And don't give me the whole article. If you put the whole article, you have no way of knowing if people cared or not. If you put part of the article with a link to read more, you know exactly who cared enough to click to read the rest. And you save them as interested in that with 1 click. Very simple. So if you are going to do any kind of newsletters and announcements, whether that's to push them back to your Wix site or to pull them into your store, how many of you have an actual brick and mortar store? 1. How many of you do online business? How many of you are B2B? Okay, cool. I'm sorry, business to business. No problem. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said it that way. There is no such thing as an email newsletter anymore. Let me just say that one more time because it's a little weird. There are newsletters and there are announcements, but nothing just goes by email anymore. No reputable service is going to say you're sending email and you're done. They're going to say send the email, now send it out on Facebook, now send it out on Twitter, and track what's happening on all of them, okay? So it's being shared on social by the people that click that little button up at the top, but you can share it too. This is just an example of something called Simple Share. It's built into the system, so if you built the newsletter or your announcement or whatever it is, and you wanted to share it somewhere, you could just click this button and share it out on your Facebook or wherever you want to share. You obviously want to let other people share it too with the same little tool that I just showed you. Put your logo at the top, left, or center, not to the right. It's just a hard, fast rule that I'm not willing to give on. Think about when you're looking at your computer, whether you use a PC or a Mac, most people have multiple windows open. You may not call them windows if you use a Mac, but areas. And things are being moved around. And the most often hidden part of a screen is the right side. So if they open yours up and the right side is hidden and your logo's to the right, they're not going to see who it is. So just get rid of the need to do that on paper, put it to the right all you want, enjoy. But on a computer screen, it needs to, or especially on a mobile device, it needs to be left or center, okay?
And make sure that the name of your company or your organization is in text near the top. Because 65% of people have their images turned off, mostly by default, and have never bothered to turn them on. So if your name is only in a picture and the pictures are turned off, they don't see who it's from immediately. They see it in the from name, but they don't see it when they're taking in the information. So anybody here on my email list has already recognized my emails always say constant contact classes, even if my logo's right there. Because so many of you have it turned off. In fact, I leave my images turned off and send myself my own emails so that I can see what it looks like. It's important to do that. Never put the whole article, I already told you that, just put a tease of the article. And anything you actually want someone to respond to needs to be above the scroll line. Meaning, that's a nice way of telling you nobody scrolls. Does anyone in here want a long email from anyone else in here? I've had one person out of today, more than 75,000 people, literally. One person raised his hand and he was joking. That doesn't mean that, well, if you're a church or you're a chamber of commerce or you're a school or some trade association and you have a lot to say, I've been there, it's hard, say it. And people want to see that you have a lot to say because their kids or their money are with you, but they're not reading it. So just accept that and put anything that needs action at the top left, if at all possible. I've been teaching a lot of chambers of commerce right now. You might notice it if you're members. To the top left is a little box that says action items or to-do list, and it just has quick links because if you're too busy to scroll, you can at least see what you need to do immediately. And that's a good tip in case you want to say all the things that make you feel good or make your client feel good that you're talking about them or whatever, but the action items need to be at the top and if possible to the left. Add your own social media links. I know that that's probably obvious, but do it. Do it every time. It should be built into whatever system you use. I do want to make it very clear that there's a difference between sending regular email and through a service. And this email has colors and pictures and links, and that's what's making it possible when you send it through a service, but that is not what is making it marketing. The part that is making it marketing is that when you go through a service, you can see who clicked on what and when and how many times. Regular email, you can't. But the bigger reason is regular email is either going to stop you and tell you you've been blocked, or stop you and block you and not tell you. Because if you send mass email and they all have a different threshold, meaning a number of emails you can get away with, and it always changes. So I can't even tell you on Yahoo Do 9. It used to be Yahoo Do 9 at a time. I can't, there's not, and if you figure out the threshold and then you do 9 and 9 and 9, they figure it out and they still stop you. So you don't want to do that. And I mean, this is more interactive. That's not to say that this is bad. There's nothing wrong with sending a regular email. Sometimes if I want to get people's attention, I send a regular email. Or I send a mass email service. I send through a service, but I send one that looks just like a regular email. Because sometimes people tune out marketing. Have you noticed that? If you see that an email looks really slick, you tune it out because you're too busy. I can't, I'll come back to it. So it's okay that your emails aren't perfect, unless you're a photographer. Your emails need to look good, or a designer, and then your emails need to look real good. Otherwise, I have a coworker who, I'm genuinely not kidding, ugliest emails I've ever seen, and she gets the highest response. She's proving her own point. I mean, it's purple and sharp. I mean, there are cats on it. for her classes about marketing, I don't know. It works, and she's just proving the point that as long as you're yourself, as a small business, you have that advantage. Be who you are, people will respond. You'll be surprised. Oh, and let me tell you this too. I think I've mentioned this before, but again, this is not something that's, $1,000. This is very low investment on any reputable service. There's no one that's going to charge you unless they're building things for you. They're not going to charge you a lot of money for that. You should be able to do that. So Facebook fan promotions actually has a lot to do with email. Because like I said, people don't go back to your Facebook page. But if you want to be relevant on Facebook and be seen on Facebook, then you need to have people go to your Facebook page. So you can run a promotion on your Facebook page that says, come download this paper, or get this coupon, or participate in our fundraiser. And you can do something called like gating. Like gating means that they have to click like to get to it. Now, if you want to do that on Facebook, you have to use a third party, because Facebook does not enjoy the liability of your contest going wrong if their like button didn't work at the time that someone is missing out on winning something big from you, like your white paper. So they don't take that liability on. You have to use a third party if you want to like gate something. But you want to like gate so that you can send people there, get them to like your page, and let them download information or an offer or a deal. Now, this is something you can do with Constant Contact. There are several other tools that will do that. You can just Google like gating and you'll find different tools that do that. But it's very easy, and a lot of people post coupons because that's what many consumers are willing to go and like you for. But I would also suggest you gather an email address at the same time. Thanks for clicking like. Now enter your email address so that we can let you know if you won. Thank you for your email address. And then it's up to you to keep that relationship if you get the email address. You should encourage sharing on a Facebook promotion. Obviously, that's the point of Facebook, right? You want the engagement. And track everything and add your own links. So even though they're on your Facebook page, send them back to your Wix site. Send them back to the site where all of your information is. Because again, campaigns are 1 or 2 things at a time. Your website has all the information. And what's great about this room is you guys are all either building or have built your website already. And you may have started journeying into campaigns where you're pushing something out. If you've ever built an email newsletter or an email announcement, or you've started planning one, has anybody here ever dealt with, make sure you put in this, and make sure you put in my article, and make sure you get this deal in, and make sure you put this event in, and now you're dealing with 14 things that everybody expects to be in the newsletter? Has anyone here dealt with that? You will, if you haven't. And your answer needs to be, no. We only send 1 or 2 things at a time. Everything else goes on our website, and we can have quick links on the email that go to the website. Drive them to your website for everything, because if you give people too many decisions to make, they will not make a decision. They just won't. It won't happen. Run donation campaigns has all of the same kinds of tools. You should be able to collect the money right there. You should be able to click to donate. And by the way, if you can accept payments on a mobile device, that's even better. More than 50% of Americans donated to some charity or cause in the last year using their cell phone. 50%. That's a lot. And special offers and deals, which is pretty obvious, but I will point out that you should also encourage sharing by offering an incentive. Our tool actually lets you can say it's $4 for the $10 thing, or it's only $3 if you share this on Facebook. And then you save even more. You make your own deals. Another thing that I'll point out though is, has anyone here ever done a Groupon or Living Social? I love any tool that's going to get your message out. I have zero negativity about those tools. But I think it's very important that when you run an offer that you get to define it. You get to decide what that offer is. And that when you are making money from that offer, you make the money from that offer, not another service. If they're taking half or almost half of your money, that's something to stop and look around at the other options that you might have. If you can't define it, if you don't get the money immediately, because some tools will hold your money back until they're sure that lots of people bought, and then they'll give you the money. And most deals and offer tools will not give you the contact information of who bought. Does anyone have that experience? They're your customers, but they will not give you that. They'll give you a list with code names or numbers next to them, and here you go. And good luck managing whoever comes in with your coupon. This system, actually, they go right into your contact list, and you know exactly who they are, and you actually can redeem it by scanning the coupon or whatever. But there are other systems too. Google offering deals, and you'll find lots of them. Running a survey or taking a poll. This is less push and more pull. Okay, this is more about actually listening to what people want and then delivering that and letting them know that you listened. So if any of you have ever taken an HR survey where you worked at some point and they said, what do you want from your employment here? And you said, I want this or that, and then you never heard anything, and that's why you now have your own business. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't feel good to take a survey and then never see the response from it. I also will point out that if you don't do surveys regularly, but you also don't have a feedback loop on your website. So on your Wix site, do you have feedback built in? I don't have feedback on mine. Do you have feedback on Wix? Do any of you use feedback on Wix? Do you love it?
I haven't used it successfully enough.
I haven't used mine either. A one-question survey is a feedback loop. Just make a question that says, thank you for providing your feedback with an open thing, and use the link for that survey and put it wherever you want. Post it anywhere. It should be on your website, brand it with your logo, obviously. Don't ask too many questions. If you have ever bought an Amazon book, a book on Amazon, the first book that you wanted, you really wanted that book, because they ask you 4 pages of questions. And I love Amazon, I'm Amazon Prime, but I really wanted the first book. And then after that, it's easy, right? Because you just click the yes and confirm, and you're done. But that first book, they ask you too many questions, and it doesn't feel good. If your survey asks more than 4 or 5 questions, first of all, prepare people, and they should be members of your organization if you're gonna ask more than that. People that are actually invested in your success and expecting to see the results. Otherwise, 4 or 5 questions and you're out of there. And if you just wanna do a 1-question survey and you wanna know what's really going on with your customers, there's something called the Net Promoter Score. Ask this one question: how likely are you to refer our service or our company or our products to a friend? And then you give them a scale of 0 to 11. And then when you look at the results, you remove the 5 to the 8. Because you don't care about the middle. You want to know who's unhappy and who's really happy. You care about the middle, but you can't do anything about those people. They're just in the middle. And events. If you're not running events, think about, is there actually an opportunity for you to run an event? Could you have an open house at your place of business? Could you have like a Tupperware party type thing at a friend's place and show off your wares? Maybe you're a creative person and you're using Etsy to sell your art. Maybe you could do a trunk show at a friend's house, or combine with a house concert and your art somehow. Find something that makes sense, because if you do an event, you are actually getting people to give you 2 physical measurable responses. Sign up and show up. If you're charging for that event, you're getting 3. Sign up, pay up, show up. And then it's your job to follow up. Sorry, I have to finish that little thing. But with an event, that's a chance for you to be the face of the company actually physically there. Or you can do a Google Hangout, or you can do a webinar if you want to do something like that. But there's nothing that replaces the value of face-to-face. Nothing will outdo that. And you may be able, in an economy of scale, to invite 500 people to a webinar and get 10 of them, all of them to pay $10, and you might make money. But if you have an actual class at your place of business and 10 people show up, those 10 people, a high percentage of them will come back and they will bring others, because they see the value of your time and that you saw the value of theirs. It really does make a difference. You've got to keep it really simple though. How many websites have you been to for events that are just, you can't even figure out where the event is, right? It's got to be really simple, really obvious. Make an event homepage. That's just a landing page. When before I was using Wix, I would create an email and then archive it and then use the URL that takes me to that email as a landing page. Now I use an event tool, but it's not impossible to create a landing page. Just add another page to your Wix site, and that's your landing page for your event. Make it very easy to RSVP. Do not ask a lot of questions, just like a survey. I try to only ask first name, last name, company name, how'd you hear about this? And that's it. I can get the rest of it after we've got a real relationship. That's all I try to ask. Make it very easy to find, very easy to click. Do not forget, so more people are opening your emails or your invitations to an event on a cell phone than not, okay? So these little buttons have to follow the rule of thumb. I have to be able to click that with my thumb and not be worried about clicking other things. Any call to action needs to be clickable by a thumb, easily. If you can manage all of it online, you should. There are plenty of tools to do it. This is an example of a constant contact, but there are a lot of tools that will manage RSVPs and payments and ticketing and all of that, all in one place. And makes it so, you wouldn't believe the number of people that are still faxing in their registrations for a lot of events. Sorry, I hope I didn't just out somebody here. It's really, really common. So let's go into some things you need to know. I like this slide because it says you can do this, because you can. But the reason that you can do it is because it's not rocket science and you don't need to do all of it at once. So take that pressure off. If you are starting and most of you are already using Facebook, Most of you are already using some form of email for your marketing, and all of you have a website on Wix, right? You're already there. You're already ahead of most people, okay? I don't know if it's because we live in Austin, so we're just generally ahead of the general population, but most people are not this far. It's true. They just aren't. So if you can maybe add Twitter, unless you raise your hand for that part, and then don't do Twitter. Or add Pinterest, maybe a blog. Does anybody here blog? Or is your website a blog? Cool. Have you ever guest blogged? Guest blogging doesn't require you to find an audience. You just write the information, write the article, and use their audience. And that's a great way to find referrals. Consider doing coupons or deals or offers unless that is against your culture. If you're not a company that offers deals, ignore that I have little things that have flippies right there. You don't need to do deals, but if you could benefit from deals, find a service that's going to make it easy. Never, ever, ever discount the importance of mobile, because so many people are using an iPad or any kind of other little mini tablet, mini iPads, or their cell phone. You can't forget that rule of thumb. It's really important. And whatever service you choose to use, you need to look at everything you're doing in both formats, on a desktop and on a cell phone. Always. And consider doing an event. If that's something new to you, it doesn't have to cost anything. If you have a little room, just invite people over, have some punch, tell them what you do. The first thing you need to do is get your contact list together. If you have, I'm just gonna guess that probably half of you, just based on the size of the room, half of you have a contact list in your email account. You have some contacts in your old email account. You have some contacts on a spreadsheet. You have some contacts on another spreadsheet. You have some contacts on cards that you never actually took the time to type in, which is totally normal. I promise you, you're normal if you have that. You have them everywhere, right? The first step is to get them all in one place. And to do that, totally free. You don't enter a credit card or anything. I'm telling you, you don't have to pay for this. Go to Constant Contact, create a trial, upload your list. It will dedupe, meaning it will find the duplications and marry people. It will say, this is the same person as that, but add the new phone number. It will get everybody in one spot. Then feel free to export it and move on and never use Constant Contact. Again, the salespeople love me, but it's true. And you can at least know how many you really do have. And if you have information like, let's say they're on this spreadsheet because they were at this trade show, then when you upload them, add a tag that says the name of the trade show. And you can always pull who was there, even if some of those people are also on this list over here. It keeps them separate, but together. It's a database. Very simple, and you can export all of it with all of their categories easily. So if you do nothing else, that's one good important step to take to feel like you've got a handle on what you're doing. Even if you're starting with 5 people, start doing some sort of push, some sort of campaign, whether it's through email or social media or not. You need to start pushing so that you can pull and measure, or you're not marketing. And that's where real growth is going to come from. And the reason I say 5 people is some of you may just be starting out. So it might be your brother, your sister, your mom, your grandma, and a friend. Was that 5? Yeah, it was 5. Send an email campaign every month. It doesn't have to be monthly, and you don't have to call it a newsletter. I don't call mine a newsletter. It's not a newsletter. I just send my class updates. But if you're not regularly there, then when you really need to tell people something, they may not recognize that it's you. You need to get into the rhythm of being in front of them so that they know who you are and why you are generally emailing them. If you're new to social, then start filling in all the fields and create a profile on at least one. Facebook is probably where you should start for social if you're not doing any, because that's where the most people are, pure and simple, and it's very easy. If you're not on Twitter, I do think you should consider it, maybe, think about it. Add starter content. And by the way, if you've started Facebook and you think you did it all wrong, at least go back and fill in all the fields that they give you to fill in. And you need to make sure you're using a business page, not a personal profile. If it says add friends or be friends, then that's a personal profile. If it says like or fans, then that's a business page. And you need to be using a business page or they'll kick you out. It's not a myth, they actually will kick you out. And the best thing you can do is go and follow and fan and friend all of your best customers. So when I asked you before, think of your best customer, hopefully you're thinking of 3 or 4 or 17. Go find them where they are. Go find them on Twitter, go find them, even if you're not active on Twitter, go follow them. They will see it. They will get a sense of connection to you because you took the time to go follow them. It seems obvious, but most people don't do it. Go find your best customers and even make a list. If you're using Twitter, create a list that says best customers. Say it loud, say it proud, and they're gonna be like, that's right, I'm a best customer. Or top customers, or gold customers, or VIP customers, however you wanna name it. They will see that they have been listed and they will feel special. I'm listed in a lot of different industry lists, and it does not lose its value. I still go, oh, somebody listed me, that's cool, and I wanna go see who it is, and I read their tweets, and I usually retweet several of them. You will get some engagement out of that. If you need to grow your list, if you're one of those people that's starting at 5, or you just wanna grow your list, these are some things you can do. And again, you're getting these slides, so don't try to write it down. Obviously, add join my list to your website, and on Wix, I can show you in some slides in a little bit where you can do that. It's very easy. I think it takes 7 clicks total to get it in there. Very easy. Add a link to join your mailing list to your regular email signature, not your mass emails. It'll be there too, but in your regular onesie-twosie emails that you send through Yahoo or SBC Global or whatever you use. Because adding that, you wouldn't believe how many people actually join it. And it doesn't have to say join my mailing list. It can say join the Going Green Business Forum. Or it can say get my best tips for recipes this summer. Or whatever you want it to say. Entice, and it's not, be honest. Don't tell people that they're gonna win $1 million if they join your list. That's not gonna happen. If it is, put me on your list. Set up text to join. This is a really cool tool. I use it. If you text BASHH to 22828, you'll be joining my mailing list. The reason that BASH is my word is because it stands for Big Ass Social Happy Hour. It's a big event that happens in Austin every month, and we sponsor it. You don't get 20% off today, so don't get that. I think you do get some kind of deal, but if you want to join my list, you can text BASH, and you can have a tool like that where you decide what the word is. I just set up a tropical fish store, and their word is Nemo. So you can text Nemo to 22828, and you'll join their list. But this is a cool little sign to put next to your register. I'll tell you, I was in a clothing store, I won't tell you which one, but I was in it, and on the back of their door was one of those, and it said save 20% today, which is why that's the example, so that I can remember to tell you this. Save 20% today, join our list right now, and bring it to the counter. Text it, join their list, walk to the counter, 20% off right there. And now, I've never unsubscribed, I get their deals, and I walk in and buy again. There are a lot of places you can grab them. On Facebook, you can get their email address. This is an app that you, on Facebook, just search for Constant Contact, pull it in, and it will allow anyone on your Facebook page to join your mailing list from Facebook. They don't have to leave Facebook. Create a paper form. An unbelievable number of people will fill out this form, but more people will fill it out if you don't give them a list like this, but you give them a card with just them on it. Because, I don't know about you, but if you hand me a list with everybody else's contact information, I'm not likely to give you mine, because you're handing it to everybody, right? If you use this, you will get some that say bigbird@sesamestreet.com, because they didn't have the guts to say no thank you, but they're not going to give you their real stuff. So put something on paper in front of people, because more people will do it, but try to avoid a list like this and just give them a one card thing, so it's just their stuff. Ask people to join your list. It is not the same as asking them if you can borrow money. It doesn't feel bad, it feels good. You don't have to say join my list. Again, name it, brand it, or make it a subscription to your monthly magazine. Call it whatever you want. But start somewhere, even if it's just your friends and family, even if it's just those 5 people, start growing your list, because the more people on your list, the more people can click share. Automate everything you can. This is Uchi's automatic welcome. If you go and join Uchi's email list, within 5 seconds, this email pops into your email box and welcomes you, and it makes them look like they've got their act together. They do, because they use a service that automates that, and you should be automating as much as you can. Schedule things, pre-schedule things. Right now I have probably 12 emails waiting that are scheduled out, that are already built, I already know what I'm going to say. They're just in there, ready, and they're scheduled, and I'm not having to go back and make sure everything is done. Just pre-schedule. You can do that. Autoresponders. An autoresponder is a series of campaigns, emails, or whatever that go on your timeline, and they are triggered by an event. So that event might be, they joined this list for this. So maybe you have a landing page that says, join our list and we will send you 1 email a week for the next 4 weeks, and each one has a different step in a program, something like that. Or if you have a sales cycle that always requires that you email this, and then email that, and then email that, set it up as an autoresponder, drop them into the list, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. It works very well with Salesforce and other CRM systems too, so you can do that. Automate, automate. Use a scheduling tool for social engagement. Anybody here use Hootsuite? I used to use Hootsuite and I love Hootsuite. I have nothing bad to say about it, but I've started using Market Me Suite. Love it. I'm tweeting right now because I scheduled it on Sunday. And I'm probably right now I'm tweeting something about being here, but I'm not positive that I put that in here. But I schedule all of my Facebook posts and my tweets and my Pinterest, everything in Market Me Suite, and I do it a week in advance, but you can do it months in advance. It integrates with my Constant Contact, so I can pull my emails for my campaigns out of Constant Contact and push them into my social media easily. I can repurpose them. It also, the reason I like this is it has what I call lead fluffing. I just put in Austin corporate events as my personal search term, and I find anybody who's tweeting about corporate events in Austin, and then I'm able to reach out to them very quickly. I love Market Me Suite. And make sure that you are listening and responding online. Obviously, social media should only take you 3 to 5 times a week, 20 minutes at a time. If you're spending more time than that, then it can be more efficient than it is right now. When I switched to, actually first when I switched to Hootsuite and then later Market Me Suite, I was able to go to this. I don't spend more than that. I'm very active on social. If you go find me, I'm really tweeting right now. But I'm not tweeting right now, which is beautiful, so I can be here with you. Repurpose everything. This is the Boys and Girls Club of Boston. This is one piece of information, a news release that they did. And they repurposed it on their website. So on your Wix website, you would repurpose something. They sent it out in their email. They tweeted about it. In fact, they tweeted several things about it. They posted it on Facebook. All from the same thing. If you are reinventing content for all of these things, there's no reason to do that. There are plenty of tools to help you share the wealth around all the different sites. And look at this. Out of 6 billion people in the world, 4.8 billion have a mobile device, so a cell phone or a tablet. Fewer, I'll just point out, have a toothbrush. 4.2 is less than 4.8. Yeah, some of my coworkers give out toothbrushes at their classes. So you cannot ignore mobile. You cannot ignore it. More than half of everything being open is open on a mobile device. Send yourself everything you're doing on a cell phone and make sure you know what it looks like. And less is more. I already asked you if you wanted a long email. I will tell you that if you give too many choices, they are not going to take action, right? If you, who has kids here? Who has little kids or has had little kids? Have you ever made the mistake of, on school day, opening the closet and going, what do you want to wear today? And giving them that choice? You don't do that after the first time. So in my house, I take out a red shirt and a blue shirt. I give my little 6-year-old her choice and empower her, and it takes 20 minutes and she gets dressed. My husband, when I'm out there, gets an outfit, closes the closet door, puts it down, walks out. She knows what to do, she gets dressed, right? You've got to be more like my husband than me in your campaigns. Because again, this is not everything you do. This is 1 or 2 things, and a no is not a no forever. It's just a no, not right now, that one thing. So you keep sending different things and see what catches, and then you know where to go back to them. I already said this to you, but I want you to realize what kind of stats you can get. These are links in an email, the number of people, and if you click on that number, you can see who clicked that email, and you can save them as interested in whatever. You can see your bounce rate, you can pull everything. These are examples from Constant Contact, but any reputable service will give you something similar to this. It will also show you all of your campaigns up against each other to see what works better, and you can actually measure yourself against others in your industry that use the tool. So if I want to see all of my coworkers, I can see all of their stuff. I can't see whose is whose, but I can see how I stack up. If you are a restaurant, you can see how you're stacking up with other restaurants, things like that. It really becomes important to you once you have the ability to see how much revenue did I generate from this campaign, how many people clicked like, how many people shared it, How many people clicked something? How many people showed up at the event as a result of doing it this way versus that way? I send 2 different events almost every time, 2 different invitations almost every time, because I know who showed up from what, and I know which one made it work. And I can actually now, just from doing this for 10 years, I can get more men to show up versus more women based on what I put in the email. I can get more people in Austin versus San Antonio to show up in San Marcos. It depends on whether you know your audience or not, and whether you're paying attention to the stats, whether you can tell what worked and what didn't. And once you can do that, it becomes easy. Small business marketing is not about having a big expensive logo. It's not about having a big budget. It is about nurturing real relationships, delivering on your promise, and measurable, physical measurable results. Humans must make a decision to interact and to take action. And if you can measure it, then you can get more of them to do that. Very important. So let's take some time for Q&A. Christine, is that okay if we do Q&A right now?
Great.
Do you want to break first, or do you want to go right
No,
into it?
that's great.
Cool. Okay, good. Does anybody have any questions? I guess I should ask that first. Yeah.
I can use tools on Facebook or some way that really maximize. I've got an audience of over 1,200 people, but
Awesome.
I don't know how to go that next step and actually have their emails and actually do that.
They're all on Facebook. Is that what you mean? Those 1,200 people? And I would, if I were you, run one of those Facebook campaigns and put something. What's your industry? What do you do?
It's all about the outdoors hiking.
Oh, nice. Okay. So do you? Is it a service that you provide, or is it knowledge and information? Or oh, great. I would maybe put together a little guide of top 10 places in whatever area is really popular for the people on your list. Are they geographically all in one spot?
Pretty much Texas.
Pretty much Texas. So I put together probably 3 or 4 different top 10 places to go in Texas, drivable from Austin, or find where most of them are centered, and drivable from Austin, and make a cute little, with a Word document, save it as PDF. Just something simple that doesn't cost you any money. And use the light-gated thing to say, because people who already like you, they can still see it, but you can also set it to get it, put your email address in.
Okay.
And then you can get their email address. Does that help?
Super. Great. Thank you.
One thing I just wanted to say, when I started using Twitter, I hated it. I actually had 3 profiles and I deleted them, and then now I run 6 different Twitter accounts. So what really helped me for people that really don't want to use Twitter, and how do I find people that like my stuff? The CSV file she was talking about on Constant Contact, about getting all your databases kind of put in one place, you can import that to Twitter, and it shows you who's on Twitter, and then if those people ever join Twitter, it lets you know.
Yeah.
So that to me was like a big.
That is a big deal. That's a big deal. And the way that I ended up liking Twitter is a guy here in Austin. I was moving to Austin, and I started following reluctantly at Austin Business. Some of you may know him. His name's Elijah May. I didn't know him at the time. I just knew it was called Austin Business, so that's a good thing to follow. And every once in a while, I would click retweet, which is how you share something. And I didn't know, because this was a while ago, I didn't know that he could see that I was retweeting. And then at some point I got, I'm going to tweet to my 12 followers. And I posted that I was coming to Austin doing an event. He retweeted it, but he was running multiple Twitter accounts for large organizations like the Austin Business Journal. And he retweeted it to like 25,000 people, and I had to set up extra classes to fill from that one tweet. And then I went, Twitter's not about sandwiches and stuff. Power. So I love Twitter now. Are there any more questions?
I have a few. This is what I struggle with. I have a business that's very targeted and small.
Oh, that's good. You're lucky.
I don't know if I'm lucky or not, but
for engagement, you're very lucky.
You think so?
Yeah,
okay.
definitely.
Well, like the whole can spam thing. I haven't done a lot of email campaigns, but the fact that you can't, getting who are you allowed to send? Well, I think I read at one point that you're allowed to send if you've obviously people you've done business with,
yep.
or the contacts if you've been in touch with the person, I want to say 2 years prior.
I can give you actually a better, more human way to measure it for yourself, because whether it's true on the paper or the legal document, it's more. It matters more about the person on the other end and whether they think they've done business with you in the last 2 years, because sometimes they forget. So the best way to know is either you have explicit permission, which means you have proof that they said, please send me your emails, which is one way.
Right.
Or you have implied permission, and that means you can answer yes to the following questions.
Okay.
Do they recognize me immediately when they
Okay.
get the email?
Okay.
So if it's your friend, yes. If it's someone that you did business with 12 years ago, email them individually and say, I'm gonna send you this, is that okay?
Right.
To let them
Okay.
know. And do they reasonably expect to get an email from you? And that's a gray area, but just be really honest with yourself. Are they
Okay.
gonna be, is there any way they're gonna be offended? And if they are, just send them a regular email to invite them to join your list.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does.
Good.
I have a couple more, if that's
Okay.
okay. And then you had said, this is another one, you recommended sending emails once per month. And I struggle with that. Like I have several friends who are realtors that I work with, and they, I personally receive, I'm bombarded with.
You work with realtors? You are bombarded.
Not just working with them, but I know a lot of realtors,
Yeah.
so I'm getting stuff from all of them. So I struggle with, how do you prevent unsubscribes? I mean, some of them probably, people are gonna start unsubscribing if they're getting all these real estate emails.
Right.
So,
Both of my brothers and my mother are in real estate.
Okay.
So, and they constantly are, well, what if I do it this way?
Yeah.
What if I do-" There is a clear line, especially for realtors,
yeah,
that they need to follow those two questions I just gave you.
yeah,
But they also have a different hurdle to go over, which is, once I bought a house and I used you, that's great, but I'm not gonna go buy a house right now, so why are you emailing me? So
yeah,
they have to, that's just a fact. It also happens in wedding planning. I don't need you again right now, right?
Right.
Hopefully. So, but if you can find a way to be relevant to their new life and their new neighborhood, that's different. So if realtors want to stay in front, but they don't want unsubscribes because they're gonna get them,
yes,
unless they're sending to other realtors who generally understand,
yes,
then have, like most realtors specifically deal with one area of town, or they specialize in that area of town. So they should do information about that area of town that keeps them in place and give them information, give their clients information that their clients would share with their neighbors.
right,
Like that they would go, oh, there's this free event down the street, we're gonna go watch a movie on the lawn of the park, come with me. And your realtor's face should be
Yeah.
next to that announcement
Yeah.
that they forward to
Well, it's
them.
funny because these are all realtors kind of in the same area. So you can tell they're all struggling with how to market their
Yeah.
agent businesses, but they're all sending out the same stuff. Hey, this is going on in the community, and you're like, so you're getting all the same thing.
A
So,
lot of realtors turn their emails into a rev stream and they no longer care about the unsubscribes by selling ads to inspectors that they work with, to insurance companies that they work with, to their title company, and then they provide lovely relevant information that people
okay.
don't want to unsubscribe from, but they're generating revenue from the ad space.
Got it. Okay, I'm so sorry. I have just two more.
Is anyone offended that she's asking a question?
I've been writing all my
Well, you
questions
group
down.
lead, you're
Sorry.
fine, you're good.
Last one you talked about mobile, and it's funny because on the campaign I just sent out, I was really surprised. It was something like 67% of my opens were on a cell phone, and I'm embarrassed to say I didn't check the cell phone, and my logo was at the top, and it was like this big.
Yeah.
You had to scroll. It was like, why did that come out so big? Because on the computer it wasn't. So I
Right.
was really frustrated that I had not checked it on a mobile. But what I found interesting is on the mobile, and maybe you can help with this, very few of the people clicked through on the mobile.
Mhm.
Most of the people who opened my stuff on the computer clicked through. Now I do very simple design, so like I used, for instance, the triangle with the circle, thinking people would understand it means to click here for more info.
Mhm.
Do you think people didn't get it, or they?
Well, I don't know, it depends what
Do
kind
you
of
have to
email
say,
was it.
"Please
Look, what were you
click
trying to get
here"?
them to do?
It was a simple email, but I did wrong things I learned today. I told
Sorry.
them. Well, I mean, it was kind of three things.
Okay.
It was, design work, photography work, and then my domain has recently, my name changed, so I
Okay.
kind of updated everything within that month, which really I should have waited and kind of done that separately.
I'll bet you money if you went back and changed your logo smaller and resent to the people that opened on a mobile, you'll get more clicks because.
You think? I mean, I did get a couple of new
How many of you
jobs
scroll?
for that email,
How many
but
of you actually scroll?
yeah,
You don't, you see it and you're like, oh, she sent me an email, and you keep going.
right.
Because you're gonna fall into one of three
Yeah.
categories,
Well, that's
now,
what I
later,
thought,
and
like,
never.
she doesn't know what she's doing. Her logo is like this big.
But
Okay.
can I ask you what service, if it's a different one, it's not gonna bother me, but
Uh-huh.
what service did you use to build the email?
I used Campaign Monitor.
Okay, A lot of services, and they might have this, I'm actually not familiar enough with their user
Yes.
interface, but a lot of them will let you see what it's gonna look like on mobile, give you a
Yes.
little view.
Yeah, I thought they did.
Yeah.
I've used Constant Contact and Vertical Response, I've used them all.
You're system agnostic.
Yeah. And then the last thing is email. You had mentioned, which is a great idea, to put join my mailing list in your address.
Mhm.
What I struggle with on that is I always worry that if you have too many links in your signature, it's going to send you to spam. Is that true?
That's
If
not
you
true.
have a link to your Facebook profile, a link to your website.
No, that's not true. What's true is if you use the words click here
Okay.
in that order
Okay.
more than 3 times, you'll potentially go into spam.
So
But it
it's
has
the
to be
words.
those words click
Okay,
here.
so if you just got
Yeah,
it.
all that used to, what you just described, where it's too many links, sends me to spam, that used to be true.
Okay.
So that's something you've been email marketing for probably 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
It's about 8
Now
or 9
it really-
years ago is when it, we
Yeah,
probably
but-
drummed it into your head, especially if you use constant contact, we probably said, stop putting so many links in, but now you.
Yeah, maybe I just thought that was happening. Okay, but I've seen that people say you should get live URL images
You
and
don't need
stuff.
to do that.
Okay, so you
As long as
just
you're
do a
sending through a
link.
service, that you shouldn't have to do that. You
Okay.
should be fine with that.
Okay,
Cool.
very good, thank you.
You bet. Anyone else?
I am mildly afraid of Facebook because I have a lot of friends.
Do you want to stand up and say it?
Well, I love my friends, but they're a little idiotic about what they post, and I'm always terrified of basically being humiliated by proxy.
Yes.
And I'm a marriage and family therapist, so
Yeah, you
to
can't
not
have
have anything that's even remotely questionable on there. So I finally just went ahead and got rid of it. But like so many of the things that you're talking about are basically saying that Facebook is where you're gonna find.
Yeah.
So is there?
Not all of them, but it is
Right.
where, yeah.
And I don't just wanna market to, people on Twitter who are predominantly programmers in my experience. But, sorry.
That's totally fun. There's a lot of anime people too, I'm just saying.
Oh, definitely. But I'm wondering, is there a way to do like a business page without really keeping your
Yes,
friend or whatever?
yes, well, you can
profile?
separate them. Facebook
Okay. But you have to have
wants
a
you to do
regular
the
one.
same, but if your business truly is, you want it truly separate from you because of the nature of your business, then use a different email address and create a different account and go in and create a page for that with a different email address.
Okay, so you can't have just a business.
By the way,
page
you
without
will then
having-
be able to see people's pages that block you. What? I didn't say that, what?
So you can have a business page without having a basic page, or no?
No, you can't. If you go to Facebook, not logged in, completely not logged in,
Right, it doesn't exist anymore. so-
well, but if you go to Facebook and you're not logged in, at the bottom, there's a little barely visible, don't know even why it's there link that says create a business page or create a page.
They've changed it recently.
Did they just move it? Okay, well, does it still say the same thing?
You still have to
Do you
have a
work for
personal.
Facebook now that I just made a
I
joke about
know
Facebook?
someone
Okay.
who does, and I specifically said, I need to create a business page for someone else who doesn't want it attached to their personal.
Yep.
Can't do it unless you're a big corporation. So you can
Okay,
make
I might
a
be wrong. I
fake
mean, I do
personal
have one,
page.
but it might be wrong now. So.
Unless, you know, like, you could be grandfathered in because it happened.
I am old, it was a long time ago.
But I don't, like
I
now,
will find out for you and I will email the answer to make sure, but you should be able to.
I'm
If
just
you can't,
wondering,
we'll log you
on
for it.
your Facebook page, personal Facebook page, which you're all gonna tell me, you can block, there's people who post things that you don't like, you don't have to delete them, but you can,
Yeah, you
you can have those personally.
Yeah, you could be on there as
Try to
yourself
declare
and be
them.
totally private and then do a business page link to that person that nobody can find. You could do that. But that would require that you still have a profile, just would be invisible and with no pictures and.
Or who can, like, if people can post on it versus
Yeah.
you just posting on it,
I
or
just
friends
don't
or
trust
stuff
them
like that.
anymore. They've changed so many things when I wasn't looking that I just don't trust Facebook. But that's good to know.
There's a lot of people that feel that way, you're not alone. There are probably people in this room that just aren't willing to say it out loud. Really.
I will scream it
A lot of
loud.
people don't. I love Facebook, I genuinely love it, whether she works there or not, I really do love Facebook, but I understand why in your situation, it's not a good idea. I have personally been humiliated by being tagged in photos that should not be tagged. And not even of me, by the way, I wasn't doing anything, but just tagged, spam.
Facebook, if you were tagged on something that they say.
You can untag yourself.
You can untag yourself, absolutely.
It's easy,
You absolutely
it's
can.
easy to control it.
Maybe we need a Facebook class on how to do these things.
Let's hold one. Happy to do it, happy to do it. Are there any more questions?
Quick question, on this constant contact, can you guys, okay, so I got a lot of people on email and tons over the years because I'm pretty old. Question is that does this system allow you to give you more contacts? Because I find when I look at my email, I think, who in the hell, I didn't give this person my email. Why are they emailing me,
Are you saying, do we allow people to buy
I mean,
lists?
do you have a list?
No, we do
that
not,
you
no.
share with
I can't even
us
see
if
your
you're
list if you
your-
use us.
So how do these other people get our list?
Well, if your email, in general,
Or
if your email address is anywhere on the internet where it's just sitting there are programs that really mean people use to go and troll through all different, looking for keywords so that they know what to talk to you about. Pull your email address and add it, and that is absolutely spam. If you're getting spam from constant contact customers, if you click spam, more than 1 per 1,000 clicks that, they don't get to send anymore, so by all means click that.
Well, I mean, I was just seeing that here lately, since you're introducing this to me actually, it's probably to everybody else.
Yep.
I noticed that I'm getting more emails about other things. And to me, I think this is not spam because I got my spam blocked and I'm still getting it. So I was thinking, well, since they have my email, I'll put my email to them
That's pretty funny.
and email them my business.
That's funny, except that most people who are spamming, professional spammers, it won't go anywhere. It's actually a mass email address. It's just sorry. Yeah, I know, yeah. I feel the
Good
same way.
idea, though.
I'm thinking the word you just said.
It's a good idea.
It was a good idea. Yeah. When my husband gets calls on the phone that he doesn't want, he's like, oh, hang on, I'm really interested. Hang on a second, and he leaves them on. Any other questions?
So I understand why Facebook's not a thing anymore. It's like on its way out. So younger generations are using Instagram. So my grandpa's on Facebook, so it's not cool anymore. So
That's really funny. I will argue that point, but go ahead. Go ahead.
well, I mean, I could understand why the younger generation's looking for other outlets. I don't understand how to use Instagram.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, just to make sure you know, Facebook bought Instagram, so they are still on Instagram. And that was the greatest day ever explaining that to my son. Actually, to my son's girlfriend. My son already did. But on Instagram, you take pictures, either live from the app or just pull your own pictures in from your phone. And then it has filters that you can choose if you want to, honestly, they make you look prettier and they clear your skin. I don't know how it does it. It's magic. It's magical. But, and then you post it and you can say where you were if you want, and you can tag other people just like in Facebook. It's like Facebook, just with the pictures.
So I own a marketing school. My clientele is that young, and I just want to be able to market to them, and I don't know. Like, how would I would take pictures and put it on there? Right.
Yeah, you have
And hashtag and link it. Do you know what a hashtag is? Okay, does anybody not know what a hashtag is and want to know? Okay. Your hashtags, because they all do that, but you can also link back to your Wix site and bring them back. And if you're teaching girls, are you teaching girls? Then be on Pinterest too. Young girls are on Pinterest a lot. It's like a bigger version of Instagram, kind of. It's all pictures.
I've used them all. I just didn't know how to market with them.
Oh, you should use the same principles. And actually, Market Me Suite is fully integrated with Instagram. So anything you're doing on any of the others, you can push to Instagram, and it will track anything that's happening. That's one of the things I love about Market Me Suite. Anyone else?
About LinkedIn. We do PR for a lot of professional services, attorneys, and also like commercial real estate developers who are not social media people at all.
Right.
And whenever I mention LinkedIn to them, they just either they don't want to do it at all, or they think that it's just
Resume.
basically post your resume. So you mentioned that early on, that's really changed. What is your argument for why
bother?
should,
My argument would be that because with LinkedIn you can pull people emails to a group. If you will create a LinkedIn group about the topic that those attorneys are interested in, they won't even see the LinkedIn part. They'll see the subject that matters to them and that they were invited, and they can see who else is there that's their colleague, and they will want to be there. And then when you post something there, it will email them, and they will feel like they're in an email relationship with you using LinkedIn to manage the group for you. So that's a good explanation. I've never said that before, but that would work. That would actually work. And actually that's true of a lot of medical industry things too. You know, they can't be out on Facebook talking about what they do. They can't do that. But LinkedIn is, it's more professional. You don't post pictures of your kid's birthday party on LinkedIn. Well,
I would also jump in and when you're on Facebook as well, there's the groups versus pages. And because pages, if you've been following at all, the amount of things that you post from your page is actually reaching a much smaller audience than it used to. And so people are starting to not go to pages so much. The kind of new trend that we've also been trying out is Facebook groups instead. And that's very similar to LinkedIn groups.
Yeah.
Where you can have it either have an open group where everyone can see it can be closed, or it can be completely private, invite only, where you only post about a specific topic, makes it very relevant. You can curate who's in the group, and even if there's only 12, 20 people, it can provide so much engagement, so much more than a Facebook page that has 3,000 likes. Maybe in a Facebook group with only 30 people who are posting, following, reading every single day, the engagement is much more valuable. So that's something to try out as well.
And the setting for that, if it needs to be really personal, it's called secret group, and it feels really cool to use.
So what if you wanted to convert, like, if I wanted to convert my users over to a group, I mean, how am I gonna bring them?
You're gonna send them an email that invites them very friendly over here and makes it enticing and fun.
Integrated.
No, they absolutely are integrated, meaning they won't talk to each other. Your contact list will talk to your Facebook list from constant contact, and if it's embedded on the website.
Yeah, you can't make a group and then, I mean,
So you have to start a new Facebook group.
Oh no, it can be associated. It can be as you managing the group, or your page can manage the group. Right. It doesn't matter. Either way.
I work with kids and do take some pictures, but I worry about permission from each parent to make. You still need to do that.
You do need to do that, but can I ask you how you work with kids? I mean, is it a touchy subject?
Oh, no. No.
I have to ask. You
Yeah.
believe the answer I've gotten before.
We go in preschool to do gym and dance.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And so I can send out pictures I put pictures on my, on my accounts. I get permission, I double check.
But it's a lot.
Really
It's
a lot. It's a big hassle.
This is my suggestion for you. If you want live, actual pictures of the kids, take them from the back so the kids' faces are showing, nobody will ever know, and you don't have to have permission. But unless they're identifiable, if their back of their shirt says Craig Jones, don't do that. But also, it might be valuable to you to stage a photo shoot and pay for the rights to photos of some kids. And then use those as your standard. Like it's like having B-roll at a TV station. I just need to.
Because like you were talking about the price.
And you could, that's pretty economical. You don't need fancy cameras to do that. Your cell phone, fine. Just your grandkids or your kids or your nieces and nephews. Oh, good. Anyone?
But like her karate business, was that you did karate business for kids? So like, would, as part of her enrollment,
She could have a checkbox on it.
yeah, say and I allow.
But I'm guessing you show up, like you show up at the
It's
school
being
one
posted
time,
on
kind of thing. You
Something
do.
like that.
Yeah, once a week.
Yeah,
And
and you're
I'm
a
doing
big
checkbox.
Oh, yeah.
But you're still, when you work with
It's
a lot of
iffy.
kids,
It's iffy. I mean, I'm thinking about my own
Maybe
daughter has a thing
maybe
that
some
comes
of
to her
that
school that
is
does that. It hasn't changed legally. Most people aren't gonna get upset about it, but there's sometimes that one and you just don't want to get it.
I'd like to learn about your thought about the statement that said about 72% of president and CEO are not on Facebook.
Is that a true fact?
I read it somewhere.
Do you know where you read it, or you have any idea where you might have read it?
Well, I actually did a small survey to all
Oh,
the
okay.
presidents, CEO.
Oh, well,
majority of them
that's
are.
totally relevant, then that is a true fact for you then, if you ran the
I
survey.
read it and then I did the survey.
And then it was felt, and it turned out to be true for
Virtually,
your.
like, the majority of them
Interesting.
are not even on Facebook.
I'm trying to think about, I interact with my CEO on Facebook, but she's not normal. I almost said that out loud. She's more engaged than most. That's probably actually true. Are they on LinkedIn? Did you ask them which ones they are on?
The majority of them have a profile on LinkedIn. How active they are, I don't know.
They're not
They
very.
do have a profile.
Their company is probably very active all over the place, but if you're trying to reach that individual person, having their email address is gonna be the best way to reach them. And then you could set up a secret group or something if they wanted to, but I'm thinking of several CEOs that I know for sure are not on it, so it may be a real fact, I just can't cite the stats, so I don't know for sure. But I think the fact that you saw that and then asked people that you knew and measured it, I think that is brilliant. That's so smart to do that, I love it. Anyone else? You guys are so easy. We all hate Twitter now? No, we don't hate Twitter, we love Twitter. One of us hates Facebook. That's pretty good odds for Facebook right there.
Did you mention the new Constant Contact Lightbox app at all on Wix?
I think I actually have pictures of it. I'm not sure if I can find it.
So
Let me see
if
if I
you
can.
haven't used it yet, whether you use Constant Contact or not, there is a new app in Wix that came out pretty recently called the Constant Contact Lightbox, and it's actually a email capture pop-up window that will come up for your visitors. And you can set how much time you want before it pops up, whether it's 5 seconds, 15 seconds, immediately. And I mean, it's proven to be a much better way to capture email addresses than just subscribe at the top. And if you give it 10 seconds, then they already have the chance to explore a little bit and they don't feel like you're spamming them immediately. So that's something to try out. It's a free app.
Does that particular app require that they put the email in before they can look further, or they can?
No, they can close out. Yeah.
I have trouble with those.
I hate
I
those.
hate those that come and pop out.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I want to look at the site first.
Yeah, so you can set how much time before it pops up. So you can kind of give it that leeway, and then you can close out.
Can you set it to a certain page or?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you
try to
can,
pull up a
you can
screenshot
set
of
it to a one page, or you can set it to all your pages. Yeah, and there's another one. Yeah, it's a free app. Just need a contact account. I think even without an account, it's free up to 25 submissions a month.
Well, that's showing you where to find us. Hang on.
What happens if it's free and you get too many clicks?
I think you just don't get the one. You have to upgrade in order to get more.
Is that what you wanted to show?
Yes, exactly. This is the email capture lightbox. It doesn't look like that scribble.
That's an odd example.
Yeah, I don't.
isn't it?
Not sure.
We didn't know that. Meaning me and Christine. I'm sure one of the companies did, but we didn't. No, it doesn't look
But
like
you
that.
can customize the message.
Yeah. It's like anything else in Wix. You click on settings, click on styles, change it.
Both systems are actually extremely similar because I actually use both, and they're both just normal language. You don't have to be a techie. You just figure it's very user friendly.
Yeah, and if you look, I mean, we have so many new apps coming out all the time. You might be getting the emails from Wix and not looking at them, but if you want to just check out the app market once in a while, it's worth it because a bunch of new contact apps came out, just like this one. There's a set up an appointment box that will show up, things like that, which you might only find if you go in and explore again. Even if you have last week, there might be new stuff already.
Set my appointment thing's cool.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool. It's very cool. So does this make sense?
Yeah.
Can we request an app?
Yeah.
Do I see your
Of course. I mean, there's a wish list in the Wix support forum. You can always send
Actually, I
stuff.
read about it and I saw that other people had wanted what?
Yeah.
Like that IDX,
What is it that you
realtors,
want?
IDX integration, they want, you know, they can search for real estate within their own website, and Wix doesn't offer that, so.
Yeah.
I've kind of,
We have hundreds of things in the works. I
Yeah.
mean, we have new stuff coming out all the time. 2 things that just came out yesterday. I can barely keep track. is a multi-content blog editor. So if you're using the blog app in Wix, and you can go in and check out the editor. It's changed. It's much easier, much more fluid. And now you can also put a background on each page rather than just the background for the whole website, which I was so thrilled about. Got that email in the morning. I was like, yes, it's the best day ever. Yeah, that's what I get excited about. But if you want to post your wish list on things like that on the support forum, we also have a Facebook group where you can kind of interact, and you can also take my information and just email me directly, and I'll send it over. Yeah.
I like this commercial, by the way.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to talk to us individually. Mingle, please have some more custard. There's so much custard there. Take some home. Give it to your buddy. Okay, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.